Welcome to the Going North podcast, where we will deliver you tips and techniques to advance yourself and anything you decide to do in life. I am your host, Dom Brightmon, and every Thursday I will interview authors, especially self-published ones from various walks of life, who will deliver you information and inspiration to help you charge forward. On a quick side note, be sure to check out my book, Going North, on Amazon.com. It's available on ebook, paperback, and audio book. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we have, you guessed it, another author, but not just any author. We have a wonderful lady right here who's going to help you get the confidence of the smallest person in the room with a bunch of folks who are probably 7 feet tall and above, the most confident small person ever. And you may be wondering, what the heck is this guy talking about? I'm talking about a wonderful lady who was the first ever to document their experiences in their college career, especially their whole entire senior year. She is a wonderful author of the book Enroll In Confidence. She is a business expert and entrepreneur, and she is making all kinds of moves. And she's not even 25 yet, so my usual 25 question has to be changed for this special occasion. And I'm so happy to have this wonderful guest, the wonderful one and only Sabah Ali. How are you today, ma'am?
I am doing great. Super excited to be here with you today.
Woohoo! Awesome. So just gave the world a quick little glimpse into the wonderful Sabah. Want filling in the gaps where I may have missed some things?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit it right on the head with that. But yeah, jumped into entrepreneurship probably two years ago now when I was a sophomore in college, and worked a little bit with my mentor who I met at my university. And from that, I started to build up my personal brand and realized that something I really enjoy doing is inspiring other college students to kind of figure out what exactly they want to be doing during college and even after college. So back in March of 2017, I decided that I wanted to write a book, and I actually wanted to do it in 30 days. So I wrote and published my Amazon best-selling book in 30 days and talked about pretty much my college experiences, tips that I use on a daily basis in order to live that typical college student lifestyle, but then also be very career-driven in my field of entrepreneurship.
That is amazing indeed. That's really amazing because, it's really awesome that you decide to use your noodle and actually make the best out of your college life besides the partying and whatnot, and actually get something more out of it besides the the degree, and actually use that experience, publish your own book, not only publishing it, but doing it all in 30 days. So that is awesome. Any advice for those who are looking to publish their book, especially how you did it so quickly?
Yeah. So I know I never thought I would be an author. But for me, the reason I wanted to do it that fast was because one of the reasons I did even write the book was to gain more credibility and build up my personal brand. Because a year ago, I didn't have that much social media presence at all. And the best way to do that is to write a book and share your knowledge with the audience. So for someone who is wanting to write a book about their industry, their expertise, their experience, it's really not that hard to do. Before I even started writing my book in 30 days, I laid out exactly everything that I needed timeline-wise to make sure I even finished writing it in 30 days. So it's definitely a step-by-step process that you have to do, but it's definitely doable if you're wanting to just put out a book for credibility, building up your personal brand, and just to put one out there just to jumpstart your personal brand. Because after that, I leveraged that book a lot to get myself on stages to go speak. I've talked about my book on live TV. I've been on my university newspaper. So leveraging your book really can help you out a lot when you are building your personal brand and your business.
Amen to that indeed, because the book itself is the modern day business card. I'm pretty sure you've heard that quite a few times, and you could
Oh
probably
yeah,
attest to that full well.
for sure, for sure.
So for those 30 days, you basically had a goal in mind, you made a plan, and then you executed on that plan. So did you have to go through any struggles during that month? Like, did you have to just put yourself in like some random cave and shave your head bald temporarily and lock yourself off from society to finish the book?
So honestly, I think the hardest part of it all was towards the ending. Writing the actual book itself wasn't too bad, and mainly because before I started writing it, I already had laid out all the chapters I wanted in my book, the topics, stories, and experiences that I wanted to tell in each chapter. So when it actually came to writing the book, I kind of already had an outline and layout and what I was going to go off of. So I probably finished writing the actual book itself in 3 weeks, and I left the last week, which was probably the most chaotic week, to find an editor to edit my book, and then I published it through Amazon. So originally first I put it on the Kindle version, and for Kindle, you know, you need to format it a certain way just so when it's on there, it's visually easy to read. So I think the hardest part was that entire process, because I've never sold anything on Kindle, and in order to put up a book on there, you have to go through KDP, which is a Kindle Direct Publishing website through Amazon. So kind of figuring out that part, making sure the format, the PDF that I was uploading it onto there showed up correctly. And then also a big thing on how I even made it a bestseller was choosing the right categories to put your book under. For me, it was obviously about college. It was about education principles that students can use and take away to apply to their own life. So I remember I put my categories under like education, school guide, personal development, stuff like that. So I think towards the end was the most kind of struggling to me. And of course, the day of launch, I had a slight mishap. I didn't realize that when you do put it up on Amazon, you need at least one person to purchase your book ahead of time, so your best-selling rankings even show up.
Ooh.
So for me, I had that big push on launch day, and my bestseller rankings weren't showing up.
Aw.
So I actually called Amazon, and I was like, hey, why aren't my rankings showing up? And they told me that you need to wait at least like 24 to 48 hours for it to actually appear. So I was a little, that took a step back with that because I wanted to hit bestseller in my category. So I kept pushing it, and then I was hoping it would just pop up. And then in a couple of hours, it did pop up. And when it did pop up, it was number one. So
Woo-hoo.
So that worked out in my favor. But yeah, for all of you guys, if you guys are publishing a book, make sure to have at least one person buy it before you actually have your launch date, so your rankings already show up on Amazon.
That's right. It's really amazing. It kind of shows two things. The one thing is that you can amaze yourself when you actually give yourself a strict timeline and a good deadline, and also the fact that you got to have a team with you. You got to have at least somebody buy the book.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So since publishing the book, how has the experience been?
It's been pretty exciting, honestly. I think when I launched it on Amazon, like the Kindle version, it was very exciting the day of launch because what I did was I actually made an event page on Facebook about my launch, and I shared the entire journey with everybody so they can see me, writing the book, picking out my title, picking out the cover. So when it came to day of launch, it was really exciting to see that I already had a lot of supporters. But I think the best part about writing a book is when you actually have the physical copy of the book in your hands. And I printed my books a couple weeks later on because that was a longer process. And when I got my book in my hand, I remember it was like a Tuesday, I got it in the mail. And I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I authored this book, because that was something, I thought you had to be like an English major or like a journalism major. Like I thought you had to have like years of, I swear, I thought you had to have like years of experience to write a book. but you really don't. Literally anyone can write a book. So that experience on its own was just so like mind-boggling. I was like, I can't believe I wrote this. And literally, if anybody wants to write a book, they can. So the experience itself, I think the journey on its own was like worthwhile. That's probably the coolest thing I've ever done up to this point, honestly.
Well, hey, it's still freaking awesome. I mean, the book has obviously helped you to actually give yourself a brand and actually brand yourself and get yourself out there, get you interviews, get your podcast interviews, especially on this wonderful podcast. Heck, even starting your own podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I used to podcast. I did it with a college student, and our podcast was called Dorm to Conference Rooms, and we pretty much talked about, we were both college entrepreneurs, so we talked about the fact how, you know, you can be a college student and still, you know, go after your goals of starting an own business, and we did that for about 6 to 8 months, and then we kind of went on our own different paths for entrepreneurship. So that experience on its own even helped us out a lot, because when we podcasted, we also brought on guests. That was a really great way for us to network and learn from other successful entrepreneurs who have already been in the game for multiple years.
Yeah, that's a great thing, because when I first was poking through your website, it immediately reminded me of, I'm not sure if you heard of him, Dr. Randall Pickett. He was one of the winners of Donald Trump's show, The Apprentice, at one time, and he wrote a book called Campus CEO.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've heard of that. I should check it out.
Yeah, really brilliant guy. I haven't finished his book. I actually listened to one of his interviews a couple times, and he was just giving tips of how to effectively run your own business heck while you're in college and trying to cut as many costs as you can, and just using a lot of free to low cost, zero cost applications just to help you actually get out there and actually run an actual business while you're in college to offset the cost of not only while being in college and the student loans and everything like that, and also to give yourself a nice launch pad once you're done college.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And a lot of people who are in college, you know, I feel like they don't take it to their advantage. Because for me, you know, my entire brand is being that college student who is also a full-time entrepreneur. There's a lot of good resources at universities and campus that people should take advantage of. Like, I'm a little sad that I'm graduating because people love college students. Like, yeah, I'm serious. Like, I've gone in a lot of free events, a lot of conferences, and when you go up to somebody and you tell them, hey, I'm doing this and I'm a college student, they immediately want to help you because you're young, you're hungry to learn, and you want to just get the most out of things that you're currently doing. So I want to tell everybody who is in college, use it to your benefit, because after you're done with college, you know, you're going to have to start paying a lot more to go to these conferences to go network and meet a lot of great people. So honestly, I feel like if you're in college, use the most that you can out of it.
Amen, indeed. You probably make that like a free book or something called College Hacks.
Right, exactly, for sure. Next book right there.
There you go, because it's like you said, a lot of things. Remember, back in my college days, there was a lot of discounts you can get on software and programs and things like that, and it's really true, and a lot of folks don't think about that. They usually think about, okay, sorority, fraternity action, yeah, visiting the parents every now and then to rest and relax and go back and drink until the hair is gray. All that.
Right, yeah. I'm like, I don't think so.
So in college, there was a lot of books that you may have had to read that was required reading for classes, or probably the professor just put it on there so they wouldn't get in trouble. But I'm pretty sure there were some other books that have really inspired you outside of your textbook. So in addition to your book, Enroll In Confidence, what book has really inspired you to be who you are today?
Yeah, so the number one book that my mentor gave to me 2 years ago, which I'm sure you have read of or heard of and probably have read, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That is by far one of my favorite books I've ever read. It really got me into that mental mindset that I have today and realizing how powerful the mind actually is. Because before that, before I met my mentor when I was a sophomore, I was in a completely different place. Like, I was not, like, I was interested in entrepreneurship, but I wasn't in that mindset that people are today. Like, the mindset that I have right now is focusing in on, okay, if I actually put my mind to something and I actually work hard on it every day, I will achieve that end goal. So Think and Grow Rich, I've probably read it like a couple of times now. It really got me into that mindset on if I want to achieve something, I can. Like, whatever the mind can conceive and believe the mind can achieve. And I've applied it to numerous things I've done up until this point. One thing that I applied it to was actually the scholarship that I really wanted to win when I was a junior, I believe. And it was just a scholarship where you go to New York, you meet a lot of great people, and only like a select few out of the nation actually win it. So when I was doing this scholarship, I had already put down the dates that I was going to be gone for this event on my calendar before I even won it. So in my mind, I already put in there that I was going to be gone. So, that mindset that you have, when I was doing my scholarship, my subconscious mind already told me that, okay, I'm already going to be gone. So just keep grinding at it and you're going to win. And, I kept working on it. I turned in my scholarship, and a couple of weeks later, I get a call, and I was one of the winners to go to this event. So that was something that after that was something that really inspired me to keep at it on everything that I want to be doing in the future. And when I, talk to my friends about this book, when they're in a state where they're very negative and they can't really change anything in their life, or they think they can't, I tell them to read this book because it really does shift your mindset on the way you think and perceive different situations and experiences.
Amen to that indeed. Amen to that indeed. That's probably one of the best-selling books of all time. If there was like a list compiled of probably the top 5 or at least the top 3 best-selling books of all time, it would probably be the Bible, the Harry Potter series, and Think and Grow Rich.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's almost like the entrepreneur's Bible right there. Before anything else, read this book right here. You gotta read this one.
Yeah. And I feel like the first time around, I understood it, but the second time around, I actually understood the principles a little bit more. So once you read it more than once, it makes more sense about what they're actually saying in the text.
Yeah, very true indeed. It's not just the reading, it's also the rereading and the understanding of what you read.
Yeah. Yeah, comprehending it and actually applying it to your life. That's the important part.
Yeah, exactly. It's like toast without butter. I mean, you really can't have just a toast lying out there unless you're really into dry toast, but just put the butter on there, spread it around.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was random, I have to admit.
Hey, that's what makes these conversations so awesome.
Oh, man. So if you were 18 all over again with all of your knowledge that you've gained now in the year of 2018, what advice would you give to yourself?
Start now. Because if it's one thing that I look back on, is I wish I would have started a lot earlier. There were times when when I was in high school, I had a pretty rough high school years, and I was still very ambitious back then, but I never had that accountability, that push or inspiration from someone else to actually start pursuing stuff that I wanted to do. So if I go back like a couple years, and with everything that I have right now, my knowledge, I would tell myself to just start putting out content and just start at it right now. Because even like in 2 years, looking back at everything that I've accomplished, it's been quite a journey. And even like myself as a person, I've evolved so much, and I can see the changes that I've made on myself in a positive way that's really helped and impacted me to gain my confidence. So hence my title of my book, Enrolling in Confidence. So definitely, whoever is listening, whether you are younger, older, have graduated college, currently in college, just start now. Start listening to podcasts to get daily inspiration. Find someone who's already achieved what you want to do in life and follow in their footsteps. That's what my mentor tells me all the time, and that's what I tell other people right now, because surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals is how you are going to get to your top successes that you want to be at.
That's what I'm talking about. Emulate the great. That's what I'm talking about.
Always.
That's right. Start now, baby. Start now. You gotta plug yourself in the socket right now. Don't wait till the gray hair comes in. Don't wait till you're 30. Don't wait until you have a quarter-life crisis 25. Just do it now.
Yeah, just do it now. So many people are like, oh, I need to first graduate and get my degree. I'm like, why? There's no point. I'm like, what's the point? Like, you want to graduate, get your degree, go to a regular job, realize that you hate it, and then look back and think, oh, shoot, I wish I would have listened to that Sabah girl who started when she was a sophomore. Like, literally, just do it now. Why wait? There's no point in waiting, because time is just going to pass you by.
Amen to that. I believe that time follows the rules of Sean Puffy Combs of can't stop, won't stop, where time keeps going on, and then you ask it to stop, and it just laughs at you and just goes faster. And then when you,
right?
when you do something you hate, it goes slower.
Story of my life. Story of my life right there. So true.
Yep, time is in the background of your life, just dancing like P. Diddy all up in your music video of life, tossing you.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that's true. It won't stop, but it can be on your side sometimes, but most of the time, yeah, it goes pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is true indeed, even for the youth of today, because there are so many opportunities to do so many things so much faster, stronger, and better.
For sure, for sure.
And you, ma'am, are an example of that.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, alrighty, for those who want to enroll in confidence and buy your book, heck, even 50, and keep up with what you're doing on the social medias and whatnot, where can we find you?
Yeah, so the best place to find and learn more about me is my website, sabahali.com, and of course, my Instagram, which is sabah.ali14.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Get in contact with Sabah Ali. That's right, follow what she's doing. She has got some things on there that will make you unforgettable. Yes, indeed, because that is one of the keys to having a great life, is making sure that folks do not forget about you. Because if folks remember you, they'll most likely buy from you, if not support you in what you're doing, especially if they love you.
100%. Make sure to always stay unforgettable.
That's right. I think that was a Bing Crosby song. You ever thought of playing that one random day during one of your presentations? Like, yeah, make your Instagram unforgettable or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the time.
Oh, man. Thanks a bunch for your listening ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family, especially those who love podcasts and love listening to some inspiration and motivation. And keep a lookout for the sequel to Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself, in October 2018. And if you'd like to connect with me directly, feel free to shoot me an email at dombrightmon@gmail.com. Make the